welcome viewers. We're going to do the Book of Acts. The Book of Acts is basically the original story of the early church. How a small, frightened group in Jerusalem turns into a movement that spreads across the Roman world, mostly because of one stubborn apostle who was originally called Saul, later Paul, and he couldn't stop traveling. It's the second volume by Luke, who was a doctor, following the gospel that carries his name, the book of Luke. What Acts covers: 1. The church begins in Jerusalem, Acts 1-7. Jesus ascends, the disciples regroup and replace Judas. 2. Pentecost happens, the Holy Spirit comes, preaching explodes, and the church grows fast. Point C. Key themes start immediately: miracles, public preaching, persecution, and boldness. The community forms patterns: teachings, fellowship, prayer, and generosity. Conflict with authorities ramps up, and Stephen is martyred, pushing the story outward. Number 2. The message spreads beyond Jerusalem, Acts 8-12. A. Believers scatter due to persecution and carry the message into new areas. B. Philip the evangelist preaches in Samaria and to the Ethiopian official. He also baptizes him on the spot. C. Saul of Tarsus dramatically converts in Acts chapter 9, which becomes one of the most important turning points in this letter. The gospel reaches non-Jews in a major way through Peter and Cornelius in Acts chapter 10 and 11. And point E, Herod Agrippa the first persecutes the church. James is killed, but Peter escapes, and that's in Acts chapter 12. Then, the third part, Acts 13-28, Paul's mission and the church goes international. The church in Antioch becomes a launch point for missions. Paul and companions take multiple missionary journeys through Asia Minor and Greece. A core controversy explodes. Do Gentiles converts need to keep the Mosaic law, especially circumcision? The Jerusalem Council answers. Gentiles are welcome without becoming Jews first, Acts 15. Paul plants churches, faces riots, beatings, trials, and keeps preaching anyway. And the book ends with Paul in Rome under house arrest, still teaching in Acts 28. It's deliberate, a deliberate, to be continued ending, because the mission isn't finished. Key characters are Peter, central in the early chapters, especially Jerusalem and the first big Gentile inclusion. Paul dominates the second half, driving the outward expansion of Christianity. Barnabas, Silas, Timothy, and Luke implied in we sections and others. The big themes, the point of the whole thing. The Holy Spirit empowers everything: guidance, boldness, miracles, and growth. Witness, the message moves from Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, the ends of the earth. In Acts 1:8 is basically the table of contents. Jews and Gentile unity, massive theological social shift. The persecution and resilience. Opposition doesn't stop the movement, it spreads it. God's mission is bigger than borders, ethnic, geographical, or political. Why Acts matters. Acts explains how Christianity went from a Jewish messianic movement in Jerusalem to a multi-ethnic church centered across the Roman Empire, and it shows the key decisions and conflicts that shaped that transition. That is the introduction to the book of Acts. I hope you'll come along for Acts chapter 1, and I'll see you in the next video for that.